I'm so nervous. You see, today is my first day of school ever. That's right. I'm Heather. I'm 15 years old, and I've never stepped foot inside of a school before. This is because my dad's a scientist and my mom's a writer, so they really cared about my education and worried that the elementary and middle schools in our town wouldn't be good enough. So my mom homeschooled me. Honestly, it was great. I really enjoyed learning about all kinds of different topics, especially literature. But then when I watched TV shows about high schools like The Kissing Booth or High School Musical, I felt a pang in my chest. I was missing out on so many things like having friends and talking to boys. I desperately wanted what those girls on TV had. So I begged my mom to let me go to high school. It took a lot of persuading and fake tears, but she agreed eventually. I was so excited! Finally, I'd get to experience school firsthand instead of living it vicariously through my favorite TV characters. Oh my god, what should I wear? What would I talk about? How would I make friends? This was actually happening! I could barely sleep the night before, and instead, I took the whole night to prepare myself. This was an important milestone in my life. So here I am, walking down the street to the bus station. Whoa, I've never seen so many people my age before. This is like a dream come true. I spotted an empty seat next to this girl, so I walked over with a smile. Excuse me, can I sit here? The girl looked me up and down, rolled her eyes, then put her bag on that seat. Sorry, it's already taken. Okay, that's fine. I'll sit alone in the back then. No problem. The girl must have gotten up on the wrong side of the bed or something. But, well, turned out it wasn't just the girl on the bus who'd gotten out of bed the wrong way. Because as soon as Mrs. Hickson, my English Lit teacher, introduced me to everybody in class, I could see that everyone was giving me weird looks too. Were they making fun of me? But why? Did I have jam on my face? Mrs. Hickson showed me to my seat, and the class began.
By now, you've all had plenty of time to finish reading The Great Gatsby.
Aw, I adore that novel.
Throughout the novel, Fitzgerald continuously references a green light that Gatsby keeps on reaching for. Can anyone tell me what the green light symbolizes?
I looked around, expecting to see everybody raise their hand. But to my shock, they were all staring down at their desks to avoid eye contact with Mrs. Hickson. Huh? But why? This was so easy. Suddenly, Mrs. Hickson said,
No one, huh? Well, how about you, Kelly?
Everybody turned and looked at a girl who was adjusting her fake eyelashes in her compact mirror. Kelly continued fiddling with her eyelashes as she replied, doesn't a traffic light have a green light? So, duh, it means that he can cross the street. What? I burst out laughing, but then everyone turned to look at me. Oh, snap. Why was I the only one laughing? I mean, her answer was totally hilarious. Mrs. Hickson walked towards me. Oh no, was I in trouble?
Heather appears to be the only one here who understands why Kelly's answer was ridiculous. Can you explain this to your classmates?
The color green in itself illustrates the idea of greed and money, being a symbol of Gatsby's desire for Daisy. Gatsby already has everything anyone could dream for, but still, he is chasing after this light, or, in other words, chasing after the love of his life, Daisy. Mrs. Hickson gave me a satisfied smile, patted me on the shoulder, and then she said,
That's correct. Very good, Heather.
Suddenly, someone coughed out the word, Nerd! Everybody started to laugh. Seriously? How could they laugh at this, but not Kelly's foolish answer?
Quiet!
Mrs. Hickson then turned to Kelly and said,
Perhaps if you used your eyes to actually read a book, instead of only using them to wear fake eyelashes, then Heather here wouldn't need to help you.
Kelly glanced over at me, so I smiled at her. But, huh? Why was she giving me a dagger look? Did I do something wrong? After class was over, I was sticking cute pictures in my locker when Kelly and her two friends, Samantha and Brittany, appeared next to me. Heather, right? Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, your sweater is... Oh, do you like it? My mom... So ugly. Why are you even wearing one? It's not even cold. Is your mirror busted or something? Why else would you choose to wear such an awful outfit? Then the three of them started to laugh. What do you mean? I dress just like Jess in New Girl. She looks amazing, doesn't she? This made them laugh even louder. While I was still feeling confused about what just happened, a girl named Taylor walked over. Hi, I overheard what you were talking about. Actually, New Girl ended a few years back, so her style is kinda outdated. Try watching Emily in Paris. That's the trend nowadays. Oh God, I didn't think of that. No wonder the girl on the bus. Oh wait, no wonder everyone at school was giving me awkward looks. They must be thinking I came from the past or something. And you should be careful. Kelly and her gang like to tease others, and I think you're their new target. Oh, so Kelly's stare earlier in class wasn't just a regular stare. But so what? Thanks, but I'm not afraid of them. I know this type of mean girl. They're all bark and no bite. So that night, I binge-watched Emily in Paris. It's très chic. I studied the fashion style and mixed up some outfits. I looked at myself in the mirror and, oh my, I really did look different. The next day at school, no one was giving me funny looks. How about that? Taylor's advice was really helpful. By the end of the first week, I'd established myself as most of the teacher's favorite student. It sounded great, right? But trust me, it wasn't. Every time a teacher praised me, Kelly and her friends gave me dirty looks. Then I found a note stuck to my locker that said, "You weirdo." Right at that moment, Kelly and her friends walked past me giggling. In anger, I ripped off the note and told them, "When you're leaving mean comments at my locker, at least write them correctly. Weirdo is missing an R." They immediately stopped laughing and rushed off so that nobody knew it was them. Man, they were so annoying. High school wasn't turning out how I expected it to be. I thought I would be one of the cool kids, not the one being teased. Ugh. Then word got out that I used to be homeschooled, so Kelly began making jokes like, "Did your parents make you stay at home 'cause you're a freak?" Well, at least thanks to homeschooling, I don't come up with dumb answers in lit class. I snapped back. She stopped laughing and gave me this dumbfounded look. After that, they still carried on with their immature jokes at every given opportunity, but I tried my best to ignore them. But one day, they took it too far. I came to class and saw a big character drawing on the blackboard. It was me! Oh my God, Heather, your portrait looks amazing! And the whole class burst out laughing. Ugh! How dare she! You messed with the wrong girl this time, Kelly! That afternoon, I went home and was persistent to find a way to get payback on the mean girls. Bingo! I took out my laptop and began frantically working. After just one night, I managed to hack all their social media accounts, including their iCloud, and found a lot of good stuff. So the next time they mess with me, I'll be prepared. And it didn't take long until Kelly's friends stopped me in the hallway again. Ugh, could your skirt be any longer? Yeah, your grandma called. She wants her clothes back. Suddenly, everyone gathered around us to see what was going on. Good timing. Now we had an audience. Let's give the mean girls a taste of their own medicine. Beautiful hair, Samantha. Tell me, how often do you have to dye it so that nobody knows you're actually a redhead? What did you say? Oh, and Brittany, nice nose job. What? Everybody shockingly turned to look at Samantha's beautiful blonde hair and Brittany's nose. How? Brittany stuttered out before she grabbed Samantha's arm and they fled the scene. Yep, I've learned all about their embarrassing past through the pictures I've hacked last night. After that, Samantha and Brittany didn't dare to bother me, but the three of them were still teasing other people. Then I couldn't hold my frustration anymore when I saw them making fun of Taylor. Hey, Leave her alone! Kelly turned around smirking. Didn't your parents teach you that it's rude to interrupt people when they're talking? Or do they have weird opinions on that, too? Oh, so that's how she wants to do it. Fine by me. Bring it on. Well, talking of parents, how are your parents doing, Kelly? Oh, wait, aren't they getting divorced? Kelly's grin immediately disappeared and was replaced with a look of complete and utter dread. Then she just ran away without saying anything, leaving her friends shocked as well. That's right. I saw a really long private post about her parents getting divorced on Facebook. That must be her way to express her thoughts. But her bad. It kinda backfired. After the mean girls left, Taylor thanked me, and some of the other students gathered around me and praised me for standing up against Kelly and her clique. From then on, the mean girls avoided me like the plague. And just like that, I went from the nerdy homeschooled girl to the cool, popular girl who had the guts to stand up against the mean girls. It felt incredible. Then one day, I went to the bathroom during a class, and I heard someone in the stall crying. She was talking on the phone. Please, Mom, don't get divorced. Can't you and Dad try to make it work? For me? Oh, man. Could it be Kelly? As I was washing my hands, the stall door opened, and just as I thought, a red-eyed Kelly walked out. As soon as she saw me, she wiped away her tears and gave me a dirty glare. At that moment, I didn't feel good. I felt the complete opposite. I never realized that it was so hard for her. Making her feel bad didn't make me feel good. It made me feel bad, too. Kelly, I'm sorry about your parents. But she just snorted, then went to leave. I grabbed her arm. Please, Kelly, I didn't mean to hurt you. Kelly looked me in the eyes and said, But you did! I know. I'm sorry. I wasn't thinking straight. I kept apologizing to her, and after a while she eventually said, Well, I suppose I was kinda mean to you too. We ended up talking, and she told me that she teased people to make her feel better about her family situation, which she was struggling to deal with. So I opened up to her about how nervous I was about starting school. We actually had a great talk, and the air was cleared between us. So, you see, from that moment on, things between me and the mean girls were great. Oh, wait, they aren't the mean girls anymore, just simply Kelly, Samantha, and Brittany. They learned that their actions towards me and other students weren't cool, and they finally understood how it felt like being laughed at, so they don't do it to anyone else anymore. So, in the end, high school turned out to be pretty amazing, just like I imagined it to be, but even better!
I was minding my own business when I noticed everyone was giving me weird looks. What's wrong? I turned the corner and saw Cynthia and her followers blocking my locker. Oh, great!
There she is, the girl that's into old men. Aw, is it because you don't have an actual dad, so you found yourself a sugar daddy instead?
OMG! What is she talking about? Everyone was gawping at me, and her friends burst out laughing. Panicked, I turned around and ran to the restroom. Those girls are so vile. How can they have taken such a simple situation and manipulated it? I locked myself in the cubicle and didn't dare come out. A knock at the door caused me to flinch, but then I heard a familiar voice.
Nicole? It's me, Olivia. Are you okay?
I opened the door and saw my friend standing there, looking at me with concern. She hugged me, then led me out into the hallway where Miss Barnes was waiting for me. The rumors had reached her, and she wanted to talk to me about it. Sweetie, I want to help you, but you need to tell me everything. I had nothing to hide, so straight away, I told her everything about Sean, who's my karate teacher. We became friends since we shared the love for guitars, killer karate moves, and old-school punk rock bands. When I finished, she said, "To be honest, I find it a bit peculiar that a man his age is choosing to spend so much time with a young girl. I think it's best I have a little chat with this Sean. So please, can you give him a call and invite him over?" Sean came straight over, and as he chatted to Mrs. Barnes in her office, I nervously waited outside with Olivia. I'm just a girl without a dad. Sean is kind, and he treats me like his own daughter. What Cynthia said is cruel and untrue.
Don't worry. No one believes Cynthia. They all know what she's like.
A few moments later, Sean stepped out of the office. He scratched his head as he told me to say goodbye to Miss Barnes and Olivia, as he was driving me home. In the car, I asked, "What did you say to Miss Barnes that made her agree to let me go with you?" I said that the child would be around your age." Huh? What did he mean by that? Then he continued, "Nicole, I have a long-lost child. I've been desperate to see them and be in their life, but it didn't work out like that. Then I met you, and I found myself bonding with you as if you were my own child." Hearing that, I asked right away, "Sean, would you like to be my dad?" He gave me this dumbfounded look, so I excitedly continued, "I mean, you're single, right? So's my mom. Why don't you two meet up and have a date? Just give it a try, please." Whoa, if Sean was my dad, my life would be fantastic. I smiled from ear to ear, seeing him bewildered. In my head, I instantly began planning their first date. Eek! This was the most exciting thing ever! But my good mood soon evaporated, as waiting for me on the doorstep with crossed arms and a stern expression was my mom. This was definitely not the time to introduce them, so I quickly thanked Sean and hurried inside. "Who's that man?" she questioned me. "I received a call from Miss Barnes, so I've been waiting for you. Who is that stranger?" "He's my karate teacher. He's just—" Then Mom interrupted me. "Why exactly is a man double your age choosing to spend time with a teenage girl?" "Don't worry, Mom. When you meet him, you'll see what a great guy he is." The next day, I arranged for them to have a lunch date at this quaint cafe in town. But the moment Mom walked in and saw him, she turned ghostly pale. Sean was also surprised. He stuttered, Louise? My mom cleared her throat. Ahem! Sean? This was confusing. I looked back and forth at them as if I was watching an intense game of tennis. So, they knew each other? Oh well, less time wasted on getting to know each other. So, I'm gonna leave you to it. I waved at them, then hurried out of there and sat on a bench nearby. But it hadn't even been 5 minutes when Mom stormed over. "Let's go!" and dragged me away. "I forbid you from seeing that man again!" What was happening? I was freaking out as I followed her. "Mom, slow down! At least explain why!" I shouted, but she bundled me into the car, then drove off, red-faced and silent. Through the car window, I saw Sean run outside of the cafe and stare at me with a saddened look on his face. "Mom, you know him?" I asked. She said, "That's none of your business. You just have to know that you are not allowed to see him ever again." "Why?" I yelled as I started tearing up. "He's nice to me. Why can't I be friends with him?" "Because you have to listen to your mother." Suddenly, my phone rang. It was Sean. I picked up, and he told me to turn the speaker so he could talk to Mom. "Louise, it's me, Sean." Mom gave a startled yelp and told me to hang up, but I ignored her. Sean continued. "Louise, listen. Is Nicole my daughter?" What? Did I hear him right? Can someone please explain what was going on? "Louise, tell me, is Nicole my daughter?" Mom snatched the phone off me, ended the call, then threw it onto the back seat. I was too overwhelmed to find any words to say, so we both sat there in shocked silence. The moment we entered our house, seeing that I was desperate to speak, Mom spoke up first. "Nicole, please don't ask anything. I'll explain later, okay?" I really wanted to know what had happened between them, but I knew there was no reasoning with Mum when she was being like this. So I quietly went up to my room. I couldn't sleep, as too many thoughts were buzzing around my head. Could Sean really be my dad? I mean, I'd never met my real dad, and whenever I asked Mum about him, she got super defensive. Mum and Sean clearly had history. So what if we're actually related? Unsurprisingly, I couldn't concentrate in school. I kept on yawning in class and playing over yesterday's events over and over in my head. When school's out, to my surprise, Sean was waiting for me at the school gate. We went to a coffee house, and there he told me the truth.
Back in high school, I fell in love with my classmate. After a while, she suddenly told me she was pregnant and broke up with me. I definitely wanted to support and care for both of them, but she refused, then moved away. The last thing she told me was to stay away and never ever look for them.
Before I had time to process his words, he smiled at me and continued.
Nicole, I believe that you're my daughter. But first, we need to talk to your mom and have her clear this up.
Whoa, this was a lot to take in. But at the same time, it was also pretty awesome. I was so happy I had a father. And better still, it was Sean. I took Sean to my house to talk to Mom, but just as we stepped inside, I got a message from Olivia. Check your social media. Cynthia's just posted something about you. Oh no! There was a photo of me getting into Sean's car with the caption, "Need tips on getting a sugar daddy? Ask Nicole." I freaked out. Now, thanks to Cynthia, everyone would misjudge me and make fun of me. I was so furious that when Mom walked over, I couldn't hold it in anymore. This is all your fault! Now everyone believes lies about me, and it's all because you won't tell me the truth. Mom gave me this hurt look, sighed, and softly said,
You're right. I do owe you both the truth.
Then she turned to Sean.
When I told you I was pregnant, that was a lie.
What? How could she lie about something like that?
I didn't want to be with you anymore, but I was too scared to break up with you decently. So I made that story up, believing that it'd scare you away. But when you said you'd stick around and support us both, I panicked. So I moved away to college and found a new boyfriend. Then I fell pregnant with Nicole. But this boyfriend wasn't ready to be a father, so he abandoned us both.
As I tried to absorb this new information, I found myself feeling an overwhelming sense of disappointment. Perhaps Sean felt the same, as he muttered out,
I can't be around you right now. Goodbye, Louise.
Then he left. My world had come crashing down around me. I didn't know what to do or say, so I just locked myself in my room and sat there in silence. A few days later at school, Olivia came running over to me and blurted out, Have you heard? Cynthia's been suspended for spreading false rumors about people. Now everyone knows that she's a liar. Well, I'm glad everyone knows, but honestly, Cynthia and her fake stories didn't really bother me anymore. I had bigger things to worry about, like Sean. I hadn't heard anything from him since Mom's confession, and I really hoped he was okay. Then, a week later, Sean texted me.
Nicole, I care for you as if you were my own daughter. I don't want to lose you from my life. There's more. I've done some research, and I've found your dad. If you want, I'll take you to meet him.
Gulp! I was finally going to meet my real dad. On the way there, Sean lightened me up chatting about guitars and tuning on Joy Division. It was so good to have him back in my life. I guess it's normal for kids who don't know a parent to imagine what they'd be like, right? Well, when I came face to face with my real dad, the reality didn't match my expectations. I showed him a photo of me and Mom, and he denied ever knowing her and slammed the door in my face. Ouch. Sean made sure I was okay, then drove me back. The moment I arrived home, I flung myself on the couch and cried into the cushion. He must have filled Mom in on what had happened, as she rushed over to me.
Honey, I'm so sorry. It's all my fault, because I'm a coward who couldn't deal with my own issues. But things will be different from now on. I promise.
Then Sean knelt down next to me.
Nicole, I meant what I said before. I view you as a daughter. And if it's okay with your mom, I'd love to be your dad.
Mom nodded her head and said,
Yes, if that's what Nicole wants.
I leaped up and hugged them both. At that moment, I realized I don't care if my biological dad didn't want to know me. I didn't need him, as I already have Mom and Sean. Now, my mom has learned to be brave and confront her problems instead of running away from them. She now co-parents me with Sean, and even though they aren't back together, they are great friends. And you know what? I've never been happier.
I waited till my mom went out for groceries, then snuck into her room. I'm just borrowing. I'll pay you back soon. I know what it looks like. Trust me, I don't want to steal from my mom. But if I don't do this, then I could lose my boyfriend and my friends. Then I'll be lonely and sad and easy prey for mean kids to tease. Ugh. I rushed to the park to meet Florian, my boyfriend. That's him over there. I walked over to him and handed him the money. You promise you'll pay it back soon?
Sure, babe. You know you can trust me.
I went home and convinced myself that I'd have the money back before Mom even noticed. But the next day at school, I couldn't find Florian anywhere. At break time, I asked my friend if she'd seen him, and she told me the shocking truth. Florian had been sent to reformatory camp. Oh my God! Did he really just scam me? Feeling my eyes tear up, I rushed to a corner in the school garden. Okay, so I don't actually have feelings for Florian. I dated him and hung around with the rebel kids because I wanted to build a cool image. The truth is, I'm just a poor girl. If people find this out, then my life would be over, right? They'd isolate me and tease me. Hey, Shannon, are you okay? Oh no, that's my friend Rachel. I can't have her see me like this. Hey, what's happened? She sounded so sincere, and I had to admit it. It would kind of be nice being able to confide in someone. So I blurted out how my dad passed away last year, and now Mom struggles to pay the bills, and she works all hours in a factory, and how Florian tricked me into giving him money from Mom's savings. To my surprise, Rachel put her arm around me and, smiling sweetly, said, It's okay, Shannon. I can lend you the money. You can pay me back whenever. My eyes lit up and I spluttered out, Really? You do that for me? Of course. We're friends, aren't we? Wow, that was surprising. Turns out I'd massively underestimated my friend. I thought she would tease me if she knew the truth, but instead, she actually sympathized with me and tried to help me. At lunchtime, my friend Dee sat down next to me and asked why I looked so down. I wonder. I then glumly stared down at my yogurt, sighed, and told her how awful things were for me at the moment. She rubbed my arm and told me it would be okay. Then she lent me some money. Wow, it worked again! I did this a couple more times and voila! I had enough money to replace in my mom's box before she even noticed it was missing. Oh, that's so pretty. It would be just perfect for my upcoming model audition, but there's no way I can afford it. I glumly walked off, daydreaming about how amazing I'd look in that dress. Hi, Shannon! I turned around and, oh, it was Brett, this dorky guy from school. He hurried over to me, nervously itched at his neck, and then spluttered out, Hey, Shannon, are you shopping? Ugh, this guy was so annoying, as if a pretty girl like me would be interested in a dorky guy like him. Hang on, was that a Louis Vuitton shopping bag in his hands? I must have been looking at it, as he lifted it up and, blushing, said, Oh, it's a present for my mom's birthday. I stroked his arm, then gave him my best doe-eyed look. Brett, you're such a good son, Your parents must be so proud of you. I wish I could get my mom something that meaningful too, but we're too poor. I sniffed. I can't even afford this really pretty dress I need for my audition. Brett smiled sweetly at me and said, "That's okay. How about I get you the dress as a birthday gift? Your birthday's coming up anyway, right? Let's go!" So that's how I ended up with the perfect dress. Oh, and I also ended up with a new boyfriend, Brett. At first, it was great being taken out to posh restaurants and bought lavish gifts for. But then the shine started to fade. I didn't like Brett in that way. In fact, I found him kinda annoying. He's not handsome at all, and he does the dumbest stuff. The other day in the lunch queue, he actually started showing me the terrible dance for his latest TikTok video, and it was so embarrassing. Whenever I had to hang around with Brett, I found myself daydreaming about someone else. This hot boy named Tyler. If only I wasn't stuck in this rut with Brett. But it was worth it for the money and stuff, right? Then one day at school, Rachel came over to me and asked me for her money back. I told her I was really sorry, but I didn't have any at the minute. Rachel sneered. "Really? Then how come you have all this new stuff?" "You know my family's poor. I hardly ever see my mom as she works so much. I don't have any money." "Fine, whatever." She stormed off. Rachel must have spoken to the others about this, as when I was with Brett next to the lockers, they came over to me and all started asking for their money back. I tried explaining to them that I didn't have any money, but one of them snorted.
"Yeah, right. You've had us all fooled with your sob story. Watch out, Brett. She'll do the same to you too."
Then they walked off. Brett was giving me this questioning look, so I tried to act like everything was fine and started sorting my books out. He didn't say anything after that, so I acted as nothing happened and held onto his arm as we walked to class. Then suddenly, he pushed my hand away. "Is it true? Are you only with me for my money?" "No! How can you say that? Stop being ridiculous." I tried to deny, but he wouldn't quit going on, which drove me mad. "You don't trust me? Fine. I don't think I want to be with someone who thinks that little of me anymore. Goodbye." I then stormed off to the girls' restroom. Phew! I almost got exposed. But hey, at least I was now free of Brett, right? But what if Rachel and the others started making more of a fuss about the money? I didn't want them being mean to me about it. I needed to find a way to pay them all back, and fast. I approached Tyler after his basketball practice and asked him if he'd like to go for a drink. There, I put on the waterworks and told him all about my poor family and how I borrowed money from my friends to pay the bills, and now they're all mad at me. Tyler seemed genuinely concerned and instantly handed over some money. I hugged him and repeatedly thanked him. He smelled so good, but I felt kind of bad. This isn't like with Brett, since I really do like Tyler, and I feel guilty for taking his money. After that, I went and found Rachel and the others and paid them back. I thought my friends would be okay with me now, but turns out they weren't. Whenever I passed them at school, they sneered and gossiped about me. This sucked, but at least I had Tyler. We started hanging out all the time, and he was so sweet and funny. He also offered to lend me more money, but I refused as I didn't want to borrow any more than I needed to ever again. Then, that evening, I was scrolling through my social media account when I saw some posts about me. Oh no. They were saying how I took advantage of other people's sympathy to get money. I was freaking out. So I quickly replied to the thread saying it wasn't like that, and my life was hard. But then Rachel commented, "Here she goes, playing the victim again." The next day at school was awful. I felt like everyone was gawping at me. But as long as Tyler was by my side, it's all okay. I was chilling with him by the soccer field when Brett walked over, an angry look on his face. "You used me, didn't you? You never liked me at all. You just wanted my money." I stared at him open-mouthed, not knowing what to say. That's real low, Shannon. Hey, Ty, if I was you, I'd stay away from her. Unless you want to end up in debt. He walked off.
Is what he said true?
No. Well, yes, but it was the past. It isn't like that with you, I promise. Tyler shook his head, then said,
I didn't think you were like that.
Then he grabbed his stuff and left. This was awful. Not only had I lost all my friends, but now I'd lost the boy I truly cared for, too. After that, everyone ignored me at school. It felt horrible to know I was that unpopular, and I couldn't wait to finish school. When my graduation day finally arrived and I went up to get my certificate, suddenly, Rachel rushed up onto the stage and grabbed the mic. Hey everyone, I think it's only fair that you all know the truth about Shannon. She uses her friend's sympathy to get money out of us. She even dated a guy just so she could make him buy her everything she wanted. Oh my God. All the teachers, students, and even my mom were staring at me. I felt like I was going to faint from shame, so I frantically pushed past everyone and raced out of there. When I got home, I locked myself away in my room and cried into my pillow. I was never leaving my room again. The shame was too much. A little later, my mom knocked on my door. Then she came into my room and perched on the edge of my bed.
Honey, I'm just wondering why you did those things.
I told Mom everything about Florian tricking me, how I took money off my friends and used Brett. Then afterward, I took a box from under my bed, opened it, and told Mom it was for her. In it was a new safety outfit for her work, as well as some new casual clothes, too. Your work outfit is already worn out, and I want you to have nice clothes. I know we aren't wealthy or anything, but you work so hard, and you deserve nice things.
Sweetie, thank you. But you don't have to buy me anything. I know it's been a struggle since your dad passed away. But it's never okay to play the victim to take advantage of people like that.
Then she hugged me.
What's done is already done. Now the only thing you can do is apologize to them all, then start a new life. Become a better person.
So that whole summer, I did just that. I apologized to all of my friends, every single one of them. Well, except Tyler, as he was away all summer. Then I went to college for a fresh start. I swear, I won't make the same mistakes again. I've learned my lesson on that one. Oh, I'm so nervous. Tyler is in the city this weekend and he's agreed to meet me. Oh my God. There he is. This is it. I finally have the chance to apologize to him. I hope he forgives me and sees how much I regret what I did. This time away from him made my feelings grow even stronger. Oh boy, I just miss him so much. He still looks at me with that soft smile and such sparkle in his eyes. I can't lose him this time, and I won't. Wish me luck. I stand here before you, looking back fondly on the 4 years of legacy we've all made together. Do you see her? The girl in the graduation gown giving that awesome speech? Well, that was me, Taylor Flores. Take a look at my parents. They looked so proud of me. Oh, but I will never forget this face. This is Jonas, my arch enemy. We were the top 2 students in our school and had been competing against each other since forever. But too bad, Jonas. You lost the final battle because I was the one asked to give the graduation speech, not you. It's safe to say that I had it all figured out after high school. First, I would move to New York to attend the most prestigious college in the city, majoring in English, of course. Then, when I graduated from college, I'd write my first novel, then publish it to acclamation and glory. Now, that's what I call a perfect plan. Just wait for it. You will see my face on thousands of book covers. Taylor Flores' time has come.
I want those pages by the end of Friday, else be prepared for a pay cut this month.
Ugh! I hate deadlines! As you can see, my life didn't exactly turn out as I planned,
What went wrong, you ask? Well, after I graduated from college, I pursued my writing dream. But every agent and publisher I sent my novel to rejected it. I kept pushing myself to write more, but then I ended up having writer's block. I couldn't create stories anymore, so I decided to switch to writing for newspapers. I used to think that if I had to write for a newspaper, then it'd at least be a famous one. But life is not a fairy tale. On the contrary, it's actually cruel and unfair. Well, at least it was to me, because my preferred newspaper rejected me a bunch of times. So now I ended up here, working for this unknown news website with an all-time grumpy manager. Okay, so back to what was happening at the office. Suddenly, my phone buzzed through an email. Oh no, it's an invitation to my high school reunion. No way I could go back to my hometown and see everyone. They'd all see what a loser I'd become and I'd be the joke of the party. All the worst case scenarios were running through my mind until a call from Amelia came. It's my bestie from high school. She asked me if I was going, and I told her never in a million years.
If you don't go, then everybody will assume that you failed in life and you're too ashamed to go. So the best thing you can do is to attend and keep your head up high.
Man, Amelia really had a point, and was great at persuading other people. No wonder she's now a lawyer. Ugh. So, here I was, in front of the venue, feeling so nervous that I thought I may throw up. But it's now or never, right? I just needed to put my game face on. I entered the room to a load of unfamiliar faces. Huh? Was I in the wrong place? I was about to leave when I suddenly bumped into somebody and fell on the floor. Ouch! I looked up. It was a chubby lady who was holding her baby in one arm and gripping a toddler's hand with the other. I instantly apologized. I'm so sorry. I hope I didn't hurt the kids. Oh, it's fine. You're lucky my belly was big enough to block you. She then paused and took a closer look at me. Is that you, Taylor? You look great. Let's get inside. The party just started. Wait, she knew me. But who was she? I guess she did look familiar. Maybe I should wait for Amelia and ask her, as she had kept in touch with most of our classmates. I looked around, trying to find someone familiar to have a chat with, but my gosh, why was it so hard? But then I saw a woman who had beautiful, long blonde hair, and I instantly knew who it was. Jessica, the hottest and most popular girl in high school, and the captain of the cheerleader team. I walked over to her, and we began to catch up. We chatted a lot, and she was so funny. I don't remember her being so hilarious. My God, you're so funny, Jess. Hey, Jessica! I heard Amelia shout. I looked over at her, and she was walking towards someone else. It was the chubby lady from earlier. So, she's Jessica? Oh my, she definitely changed a lot. But if that was Jessica, then who was this? Thank God I didn't say her name earlier. I excused myself from this mystery person, then whispered to Amelia, asking who the lady was I was talking to. Beats me. Why don't we ask her directly? She then did exactly just that. The lady gave us a playful smile, saying, Try guessing. Are you Ashley? Nope. Natasha? Wrong. Tiffany? Negative. Wait, are you related to Jack Miller? You kinda look like him. Almost correct. Oh my, she wasn't related to Jack Miller, 'cause she is Jack Miller. Well, now she's Jill Miller. Turns out she never felt comfortable being a boy, so after high school, she underwent transgender surgery. Wow, that's incredible. I kind of felt overwhelmed, so I went to the bathroom to freshen up. On my way out, I saw a familiar face. It was Luke, the most handsome guy in high school. He was picking up trash and putting it in the garbage can. Aw, what a nice guy. We talked for a bit and... Oh, turns out he works here as the janitor. He was the one who recommended organizing the reunion here, and he was cleaning up as much as possible so later it wouldn't take him so much time. For real? Who would have expected that? I went back to the party and saw Amelia talking to a guy. Oh, Who is this handsome dude? Amelia beckoned me over and introduced him to me. I couldn't believe my ears. It was Jonas, my arch enemy! The chubby dwarf Jonas with a face full of pimples now resembled an Abercrombie and Fitch model. Jonas just told me that he's been promoted to a higher position in his company. Ugh. Seemed like he still kept his bragging habit. Some things never changed. Suddenly, Jonas asked me,
"And what about you, Taylor? How has it been going for you lately?"
Oh, snap! I couldn't tell him that I was working for this awful news website. That would be so humiliating. So, thinking fast, I blurted out that I was a managing editor for this huge newspaper in New York. Jonas and Amelia looked at me in shock. In your face, Jonas. If I had a mic, I would definitely drop it. I asked Jonas what position he was promoted to, and he replied,
"Oh, I got Chief Technical Officer."
Huh, nice try, but it was no match for my amazing job. I won that battle, loser. Well, in general, the reunion went pretty well, even though I had to lie about myself, but whatever. It's not like I was gonna see Jonas again, right? Wrong. A week later, I received a Facebook friend request from him. First, I ignored it, but then a few days later, he texted me via Messenger, asking why I didn't accept him on Facebook. Ugh, that was so annoying. Fine, but first I had to readjust my page. I needed to hide photos, statuses, and tags that were related to my company. Done. Then Jonas began to text me.
"It was nice seeing you the other day. Would you like dinner sometime?"
I'm sorry, what? Was he asking me out on a date? Or was this a prank? 'Cause I live in New York. I told him that, and oh my God, he lives in New York too. Ugh, great. But the thing is, I told him last time that I'm an editing manager, and that's a busy job. So during our date, I asked Amelia to pretend to be my secretary and call me a bunch of times during dinner. However, before we could play our act, Jonas was the one who received a dozen calls and then had to leave early because of an incident at his company. After that, he texted me quite a lot, but still feeling bitter from being ditched at dinner the other day, I only replied to him after 30 minutes. Every time. But on days when he didn't text me, I found myself staring at my phone, longing to hear from him. Jesus. I was falling for him? Jonas? Why Jonas? I couldn't understand myself anymore and was unable to stop my feelings. So, when he told me he liked me, I said I liked him too. And soon we became a couple. It was great at first, but then Jonas insisted that he drive me to work and pick me up. Oh no. I refused, of course, but he wouldn't take no for an answer. Ugh. So when Jonas dropped me at the fake office, I had to run. No, I had to sprint 5 blocks to my real office to make it on time. And then in the evening, I had to leave 30 minutes earlier to run back to the other office and wait for him to pick me up. The first 3 times, I could handle it. But Jonas wanted to drive me to work every day. That's enough. I needed a break from all this running. Eventually, I came up with an excuse. I bought a bike and told him that I wanted to ride to work, as it would be good for my health. Phew. I didn't have time to run 5 blocks each day anymore, because I had an important interview to prepare for. Oh yeah, I was applying to my dream newspaper. Again, if I did get in, I don't need to lie to Jonas anymore. And luckily, my interview went pretty well. I had a smile on my face as I walked over to the elevator. First it was just me, and then a bunch of employees went in. The elevator was about to close when suddenly, from the outside, someone put his hand between the doors.
"Please wait!"
And that's when I saw a familiar face. Jonas! Our eyes met, and we both looked shocked. Then one of the employees said to him, "Hey boss, I already finished the report, and will send it to you this evening." What? Why did the guy say that to him? When the elevator reached the ground floor, I quickly ran out of it. Jonas ran after me, held my hand, and said,
"Wait, let me explain."
What is there to explain? We both lied to each other. Jonas held me in his arms and tried to keep me calm. Then he began telling me everything. Oh my God. Turns out he's the actual editing manager of this newspaper. Ugh! Well, that explains a lot. I should have known he didn't work in technology, as I once asked him to repair my laptop, and he ended up locking himself out of it.
Hearing you say you had my job shocked me. I didn't want to embarrass you, so I made up another position.
So he knew right from the beginning I was lying. Then why did you insist on driving me to work, when you already knew I didn't work there?
I was just messing with you. Besides, I was kinda curious to see how long you could keep the lie up for. I'm sorry. But the truth is, I like you. I have liked you since high school. Back then, I was always competing with you because I wanted you to notice me.
I thought I was about to throw a tantrum, but thinking back, it was all my fault. If I hadn't lied in the first place, then Jonas wouldn't have had to lie about himself. Right at that moment, I received an email from Human Resources. Oh God, I got in! They were so impressed by me that they had to email me right away. I was so happy that I hugged Jonas as he said,
"Congratulations, newbie. Now, let's get to work. Your first task is to go out on dinner with me."
Yeah, so now Jonas and I work at the same place, and he's my boss. I used to hate losing to him, but now that he's my boyfriend, I feel fine. Actually, I'm really proud of him. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. My God, I was so nervous. You see, this was my first day as an intern in this super big company. On one hand, anxiety wouldn't stop creeping up on me. But on the other hand, I actually couldn't wait to begin working in this fancy professional office. Having my own desk, my own PC, doing all the paperwork. So exciting! But, well, it didn't exactly turn out as I expected. All I did on my first day was make a lot of coffees, get everyone's lunch, and do endless printing. Oh, I forgot to introduce you to my team. This over here is Quinn, our team leader. And then the girl over there is Sadie. That guy sitting in the corner is Bob. And I'm the adorable Lauren. Then, while I was bringing yet another coffee and cake to each one of them to get to know them better, the manager, Caleb, came to our department and began yelling at Quinn.
"Why have I still not received the report on the working project?"
"Sorry, boss. We're kinda short-handed."
"Short-handed, huh? Then how come every time I walk past, I see the intern doing meaningless things? I didn't hire her to wait on you guys. Is that clear?"
Then Caleb looked at me and said,
"You, intern, in my office."
I followed Caleb into his office, feeling all anxious. Did I do something wrong? Then suddenly, Caleb hugged me from behind. I got so startled that I immediately pushed him away. "What are you doing? You can't do that here!"
"Sorry. Just seeing you here makes me so happy. But what's with the tense face?"
"Oh, I never saw you yelling at somebody, so it was kinda scary."
"That? Oh, that's nothing."
You're probably wondering why my manager was hugging me. Well, actually, Caleb is my boyfriend. You see, I was in my last semester of college. I told him that I wanted to do an internship because it would be good for me, so he insisted that I do it in his company. At first, I didn't think it was a good idea. I mean, couples that work together don't stay together, right? But he managed to convince me otherwise, so here I am. Even so, I didn't want anyone in the office to know about our relationship. Therefore, I didn't let him drive me to work, and having lunch together is also a no-no. Caleb had no comment about this. He probably understood why this was necessary. But then one day, at the end of the meeting with our department, Caleb was about to walk out of the meeting room when he suddenly stopped, turned around, and said in front of all,
"Oh, by the way, I just want you all to know that Lauren is my girlfriend. Okay, bye."
Oh my God! Why on earth did he do that? Everybody immediately turned and stared at me with shocked expressions. And me, well, I just wanted to slide down the chair and hide under the table. I stormed into Caleb's office and demanded an explanation.
Yesterday I had lunch with a manager of another department, and he said that he liked you and wanted to ask you out. So I thought it's best to inform everyone that you're my girlfriend. Am I right?
What? Ugh, no! Men and their dumb egos. Ugh! Anyway, I hoped that it wouldn't affect anything. But as I feared, it did. Massively so. The moment everyone found out I was Caleb's girlfriend, they started treating me differently. Every time I walked into the room, they immediately stopped talking and gave me awkward looks. Or after work, they would go out for some drinks but purposely not invite me. It sucked being left out like that. And then one day, it got much worse. I arrived at the office extra early as there was an email I needed to send out before 9. But my PC wouldn't turn on, so I got under the table trying to see if a cable was loose. Right at that moment, Bob and Sadie walked into the office gossiping.
Clearly Lauren only got that internship because she's Caleb's girlfriend. And did you see her clothes? All those expensive brands? Well, having a boyfriend who's the manager in a big company must be blissful.
What? I never accept expensive gifts from Caleb. They're all mine. Then during work, I accidentally took a glimpse at Quinn's computer screen and saw that they were chatting about me in a group chat. Something about me not having to do errands just because my boyfriend's the manager. Hearing and reading all these mean comments made me feel really frustrated, so I wasn't in any mood to work that whole morning. Then in the afternoon, we had a meeting about the project we were all working on, and Caleb asked me to hand him the report. Oh snap. I'd totally forgotten to do it. Sorry. I haven't written the report yet.
Can I ask why? And what were you doing this entire morning? For the sake of our team, please focus. We can't mess this project up.
I'm just having a lot going on, okay? Interns are humans too. Jeez, I'll send you the report by the end of the day, boss. Everybody gave me befuddled looks. Caleb most of all. But wait, I see some of them smiling. Were those smiles for me? Then after the meeting, everyone gathered around me, patted my shoulder, and praised me for standing up against Caleb. To be honest, it felt good to be noticed and not ridiculed. So maybe there was still a chance I could win them over, right? The next day at noon, Caleb came by the department to grab some lunch with me. But I told him, in front of everyone, that I wanted to have lunch with the team. He looked confused, but still had to agree. Lunch with the whole team was great. Except for one thing. They constantly kept asking me about Caleb. Like, what's he like outside the office? Why is he always so strict and grumpy? I noticed that they kinda liked talking about Caleb, so I told them, oh, Caleb is such a great boyfriend. He's very attentive and is an amazing cook. But they weren't interested in that. Oh no, they just cared about his bad habits. Ugh, fine. So I gave them what they wanted. Well, I don't like that he's always perfectly on time. I'm 1 minute late, and he begins to lecture me about how time is precious and we shouldn't waste it. That definitely caught everyone's attention right away. They really liked that, huh? I felt kinda guilty, but I couldn't deny how nice it was. That feeling when everyone was starting to like me, and it would be only this time, right? Well, how wrong I was. Because every time our team went out, they started gossiping about Caleb and then looked longingly at me until I badmouthed my boyfriend. Again. But to me, Caleb is the perfect man. He just has a few tiny flaws, but nothing major. So I decided to make stuff up. He sleep talks and never brushes his teeth before bed. And he burps a lot at home. Ugh, I hated it. But what can I do? The worse stuff I told them about Caleb, the more they seemed to like me. Then one day, Caleb invited some of the other managers to his apartment for some beer. Suddenly, a guy pointed at Caleb's beer and asked him if he should be drinking that, what with his gas problem. Oh no. Then this guy told a confusing-looking Caleb that everyone in the office was gossiping about him. Luckily for me, he just shrugged and said he didn't want to hear about idle gossip. Phew, that was close. But then something terrible happened. Some of my fake rumors reached Mr. Smith's ears, the general manager. One day I walked past Caleb's office and heard Mr. Smith yelling at him. Something about Caleb resigning as manager because there was a rumor that he pushed other staff who dared to argue with him to quit. Oh no! I only made that up on purpose so the others would be afraid of him and stop talking about him. It's all my fault. So as soon as Mr. Smith walked out of Caleb's room, I ran after him and said, "Please wait. I can explain." "What do you mean?" I took a deep breath to calm down. Then I began to explain to him that I was the one who spread that rumor, and that it was 100% not true. Please don't force him to resign. It's all my fault.
Oh, sweetie, why did you do that?
I'm sorry, Dad. I was stupid and acted like a child.
It's okay, but gotta say, I'm disappointed, Lauren. I will talk to Caleb later. Hope you've learned your lesson this time, and don't you ever do that again. Understood?
Yes, Dad. Then he walked away. I let out a sigh of relief when, suddenly...
Dad? Are you calling Mr. Smith Dad?
Oh no! I didn't notice that Caleb was standing behind us. Well, the truth was finally out. As you can see, Mr. Smith, the general manager of the company, is my dad. But nobody, not even Caleb, knew that. Then Caleb continued.
Why didn't you tell me that Mr. Smith is your father? And why did you spread that awful rumor about me, Lauren? Why did you do that to me? Do I look like a fool to you?
He got so mad that he was about to walk off. I quickly held his hand and began to explain. I didn't tell you Mr. Smith's my dad because I was afraid you'd feel pressured and wouldn't want to be with me anymore. Caleb didn't say anything. He just stood there silent. So I continued. About the rumor, I'm so sorry. I messed up, but please, you need to understand. From the moment everyone knew I was your girlfriend, they started gossiping about me and leaving me out. I felt so hurt and lonely when all I wanted to do was fit in. Until this one time, everyone talked to me again as I unintentionally complained about you, and they treated me like a friend after that. But they're always hungry for more gossip about you, so I had to make some up, and I eventually lost control. I'm so sorry, Caleb. Caleb let out a sigh, then hugged me.
I'm sorry that happened to you in the office. I didn't know you were struggling. Next time, you have to tell me. Don't hide things like that, okay?
I nodded with a smile and silently thanked my generous boyfriend. Yet I almost ruined his career just to please those talkative coworkers of mine. But fortunately, things turned out well between us in the end. Eventually, people found out that Mr. Smith was my father, 'cause, well, eyes and ears were everywhere in this company. You can't hide anything. Then they began to gossip that Caleb was only dating me because of the managing position. Man, they'll never stop, will they? But anyway, I don't care anymore. My internship soon ended, and I decided not to come back to this company, obviously. I will find a more suitable environment. But actually, the time as an intern there taught me an important lesson. That you shouldn't care what other people think of you, and just stay out of all that office drama. It's really exhausting. Wow! Magnificent! So, I'm going to live here from now on? Unbelievable! Everything has happened so quickly that I was struggling to believe it was real. Yesterday afternoon, when I was helping out in my family's diner, suddenly a film crew rushed in and claimed that they were from the reality TV program Long Lost Love, which reunites lost family members. While I stood there confused, they announced to me that I was the lost child of the famous director Gabriel Perez. What? Did that mean my parents adopted me? Through tears, my parents told me that 13 years ago, in a bustling, crowded fair, they saw me wandering around aimlessly, so they brought me home. And even though they reported it to the cops, there were no leads, so they decided to adopt me. And so begins my life as a young lady of a rich family. As you'd expect with the home of a famous director, my father's mansion was impeccable. From the designer furniture to the stylish decor, the whole house was like a French-style castle. I peered at the huge photo of my grand-looking parents. Suddenly, there was a whisper.
"The master must be very happy, you know. His second wife couldn't give him a child after all these years. Yes. Now that he's older, he had to search for his biological child to lean on."
Oh, so this woman, the woman who came with Dad to the reunion yesterday, wasn't my biological mother? In that case, I wonder who's my real mom.
Miss, come in, please.
Inside were my parents and some specialists who then immediately pulled me in for a complete makeover. Whoa, I looked really gorgeous. My hair was so glossy, and this makeup made me look so glamorous. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think I would end up living here and feeling like a princess. Beaming with happiness, I turned to look at my dad. But suddenly, I was startled to meet eyes with the maid. She looked so gloomy. Why did she keep staring at me with a poker face? That was odd. "Carol, let's move along." Strange. But never mind. Maybe she's always like that when she's seeing strangers. OMG. Dinner was so luxurious, including caviar and steak. This was so exciting. That night, I couldn't sleep and just rolled around in bed until dawn. But little did I know what an exhausting day was waiting for me ahead. 5 a.m. sharp, I was shaken awake. Huh? Was there a fire or something? A maid informed me that I had a very important press conference this morning, and it was imperative I looked the part. I groggily got out of bed and plonked myself in the chair. I had to wear this posh dress and have this old-fashioned bouncy hairstyle. Ugh, this made me look about 25. OMG! I swear this press conference was the most boring thing ever. For several hours, their conversations couldn't stray away from showing off their wealth, comparing their popularity, and all the showbiz stuff. I yawned dozens of times, but had to hide it behind my hand. I could feel my stepmother scrutinizing me. Ugh! I wanted to go home. You see, the type of person I hate the most are those kinds of showy, scornful ladies. But unfortunately, they're the only ones I've been interacting with. I missed hanging out with the kids my own age. But yeah, since I moved here, my parents insisted on homeschooling me, so I wouldn't be influenced by other inferior children. Ugh! Worse still, the only thing they teach me is about acting and movie stuff. How is that going to help me get into college? But that's not all. After studying, despite being tired, my stepmother forced me to spend a further 2 hours working out in the home gym. Every time I gasped for breath or snuck a snack, she would give me a novel-long lecture. The worst part is she banned anything sweet and made me stick to this strict diet full of celery and hummus. Gross! Then one time I slipped and fell off the exercise bike and twisted my ankle. My stepmother was so furious with me that she made me go to bed without my dinner. I couldn't take it anymore, so I hobbled into my father's room. "Dad, why do I have to do these things? I don't like it." Dad said nothing, but just quietly signaled for me to follow him. He led me to a locked room at the end of the hallway. When the door opened, I saw a portrait of a very beautiful woman hanging in the middle of the room. Hang on a minute. My new hair and clothes were identical to hers. Dad stared at the portrait with dreamy eyes. Then he said that this woman used to be a very famous actress. He told me how they fell in love. Then she gave birth to me. So that means this is my mother?
That's right. Your mother is very beautiful, isn't she? And I'll make you perfect, just like her.
Then Dad waved me out of there, locked the door, and went away, leaving me standing alone shaking. There was something about his words that unsettled me. Curious about Mum, I went to an old maid to ask for more information. It turned out that in the past, my dad was my mum's manager, and thanks to her popularity, he made a lot of money. Mom was the muse for Dad's movies and also the love of his life. But unfortunately, because of a serious illness, she passed away. That was a huge trauma for Dad, and he seemed to lose himself. Ever since then, his head's been in the clouds, and he doesn't always make a lot of sense. Is that true? No wonder sometimes I found Dad's words creepy.
It's time for your yoga lesson. And why exactly are you talking to her? Now that you're rich, show some dignity. Don't liaise with the staff.
You're not my mom. You can't control me.
How dare you? I'm only showing you kindness because your father asked me to. A silly little girl like you means nothing to me.
You're so mean. It's no surprise why. You know, my mother is 100 times prettier than you. That's why Dad wants to make me like her.
You! Sooner or later, you'll end up like my poor daughter. Just enjoy the calm before the storm.
Huh? What did she say? What daughter? Didn't people say she had no children? Then, a few days later, as I was walking down the hallway, feeling exhausted because my current diet plan only included 2 apples a day, I heard the maids whispering to each other. Look, she won't be able to hold out. It won't last long. Her looks are fading. It's not long now. Then she'll end up like the previous one. What previous one? I went over to ask, but on seeing me, they immediately made up some excuses to flee the scene. Suddenly, someone leaned into my ear and said, "Try not to lose your looks, or else." Huh? I turned and saw that it was that strange maid, Carol. As I watched her walk off, I wondered what she meant by that. Obviously, she doesn't like me, but why? Honestly, there are so many confusing things about this family. Everything is so far from normal, it may as well be on its own planet. They're hiding something from me. I just need to figure out what. One day, while Dad and Patricia went away for an event, I snuck into their bedroom and looked around for the key to the secret room. Result! It was hidden in an old jewelry box. And whoa! This place was full of photos and DVDs and stuff. I found an album labeled Happy Family, and there were so many photos of Dad and Patricia with a pretty little baby girl. There was one photo of that baby girl turned 10. Written on the back of it was 12/15/2014. Happy birthday, our pretty sweetheart. Stay beautiful, Carol. Carol? The birth year. Green eyes. Could it be? That's it. The baby girl was Carol, the maid. Maybe puberty hitting changed her appearance and she's not as pretty anymore. But I could still tell some of her old features. So Carol was the previous young lady and also the poor daughter that Patricia mentioned. That made sense, as I'd seen Patricia interacting more with her than the other maids. I once even noticed her helping Carol clean up the dishes. I was still overwhelmed with the secret I just found out when I looked through the window and saw Dad's car pull up in the driveway. Panicked, I took that photo and ran out of there. I had to leave this place, or else I'd turn into another Carol. I kept on running, but then I bumped straight into Patricia. Oh no. Please let me go. I don't want to live like this any longer. Please. Patricia snatched the photo from my hand, then took my wrist and dragged me along. Let me go!
Get in the car. Where do you want to go?
To my adoptive parents' house. On our way, Patricia told me everything. She was once a famous actress who met, then fell for Gabriel. At first, she didn't mind attaining his high beauty standards, but then she realized that how he made her act and dress was all based on his late wife. She thought that having a child would change him, so they adopted Carol. She was very beautiful when she was little, so they spoiled her and took her everywhere to brag. But when she grew older, her looks began to fade, so Gabriel made her their maid. My dad needed a pretty girl to be her replacement, to be his own muse, so he decided to find another one. Truth was, he had no long-lost daughter. Instead, he got a private detective to look up unsolved missing child cases and discovered me. Oh my God! Unbelievable! Now Patricia, too, was exhausted from living this life, with a man who was still besotted with his dead wife. She felt bad for Carol, and for me, too. So, okay, turns out Patricia wasn't as bad as I thought. On the contrary, she was kinda pitiful.
We are so sorry for letting you move into that house.
I knew there was something not quite right about the situation, but I wanted you to be happy without money worries. So, we let you go. We should have realized.
We're so sorry. I'm sorry for not being able to stop Gabriel. He went too far.
I was sobbing in my mum's arms when I saw Gabriel. He stormed in and dragged me along.
This one's mine, so she's coming with me.
You can't just buy her. She's my daughter. Right at that moment, my sister Hannah arrived back from school. Gabriel's eyes lit up when he saw her. Then he immediately rushed over and grabbed her arm.
Ha ha ha! Then I'll take this one. Not so pretty, but I can make it work.
We all charged towards him and freed Hannah from his grasp. Gabriel seemed frantic and refused to leave. My parents had to literally bundle him out of the house, then call the cops. So, what now? Well, at first, I was pretty mad with my parents for letting me go so easily, but I guess they just wanted me to have no money struggles or anything. So, I've forgiven them, and now we all live a humble but happy life running the diner. Carol and her mom visit sometimes. They moved out of Gabriel's mansion, and they seem much happier now. As for Gabriel, as far as I know, he's still searching for the perfect beauty to replace his dead wife. There's a part of me that kind of feels sorry for him, but luckily, he can't come anywhere near me or my family, as we have a restraining order against him. Looking back on it all, I now realize that I already had everything I needed. Okay, so we might not be rich, but we have kindness, love, and happiness. And trust me, those things are way more important than bags full of money.
She's so pretty, just like a real-life Barbie. I wish my hair was as shiny and blonde as hers. This is what people think of me. But all I ever wanted was just to be a normal teenage girl, like everyone else. You see, ever since I was little, I stood out with my platinum blonde hair and turquoise eyes. People have always said I look like a Barbie. Hey, some of them even call me Barbie. My mom's always been super proud of my looks. She used to put me in princess dresses and sign me up for kids' talent shows, which I more often than not won. This led to media attention, and soon I was invited to model for some big brands. Back then, I was super excited about this. I loved all the praise and pampering, but unexpectedly, it was that early fame that made me gradually lose my freedom. Nora, go get dressed, quickly. I'm not showing up late for Anna's party. Yes, Mom, I replied as I reluctantly grabbed the clothes my mom had laid out on my bed. Nora, your natural hair is so beautiful. Before I even had a chance to reply, Mom was in there bragging about my natural blonde hair. Natural? Yeah, right. So it has nothing to do with the fact Mom makes me bleach it once a month? She made a huge deal a few months ago when she noticed my hair beginning to slightly darken. Then Mom dragged me from person to person, boasting to them about my achievements. Ugh! This was so tedious. So, when she was absorbed in convo with some guy, I sneaked over to the food table and grabbed a slice of cake. I was about to put it in my mouth when suddenly, from behind, my mother's stern voice resounded. Nora! Put that down this instant! Huh? It's just a small piece of cake. I was hardly going to balloon up after eating it. Then, without giving me time to argue, she snatched it out of my hand and said, Eat that, and you'll have to skip dinner and do cardio for 1 hour to burn all those calories off. Do you still want it? Geez, there's no point arguing with Mom. So I grabbed my drink and went to the corner of the room. I was fiddling with my glass and feeling totally fed up when suddenly a guy came up to me and almost caused me to spill my drink. Oh my God, it's Philip, the hottest teen model in the scene right now. Sorry, are you Nora? I've heard a lot about you, but why are you standing here all alone? It's because I'm not really into parties like this. So we're the same. Then we started chatting, and before Philip left, he asked for my number. After that, he texted me every evening. Talking to him was so much fun. He was just so sweet and thoughtful, and he always sent me the funniest memes. How cute! One day, while we were chatting, he texted me, "Can I invite you to dinner? Let's say tomorrow evening?" Was he asking me out on a date? Yay! But I had to ask Mom's permission first. Mom, do you remember Philip, who we met at Anna's birthday party? Can I go to dinner with him tomorrow? Sure, I'll drive you there. No need, Mom. Philip will pick me up. No, I said I'll take you. No matter what I said, Mom still insisted, and if I didn't follow, she wouldn't let me go. Jeez. This was a date, not a fashion show that required a manager. The next evening, as soon as I walked down the stairs, my mom was at it again. Oh my, what are you wearing? Before I had a chance to reply, Mom pulled me into my room, took out a bodycon dress, and said, "You put so much effort into looking this way, so you may as well flaunt it. Besides, dating this boy could bring business deals for us." Gosh, I get it now. All this was just about fame and money. There Philip was. I quickly fixed my hair, then I confidently walked towards him. But when I had just sat down, before I could even greet him, out of nowhere my mother appeared and asked the waiter to arrange another chair for her. Philip gave me this bewildered look, but I didn't know what was going on either. "Mom, what are you doing?" "We've always been together. You don't mind if I sit here, do you?" No, not at all." Philip smiled awkwardly. This was so embarrassing. When the waiter appeared with the menus, I was actually glad of the distraction. But, oh no, I didn't even have the chance to open the menu, but Mom had already finished ordering for us both. Grilled salmon with salad and no dressing. How boring. But it gets worse. During dinner, my mom kept asking Philip questions like, "What do your parents do?" They only run a small business? I thought they were the presidents of a corporation or something. It's unbearable. Stop it. It's none of your business. I was just asking. A flustered-looking Philip made up some excuse about having to do something. Then he left. That's it. Thanks to my mom, my first date completely failed. Frustrated, I left right after he did. I didn't say a word to Mom for the whole journey home. Things didn't end there, though. When we arrived home, she kept nagging about how I shouldn't hang out with Philip, as he wouldn't be of any use to my career. Don't you think you're being too much? I can date whoever I want to. You know what? I don't want you to be my manager anymore, and I'll be moving out on my own. Then I rushed back to my room and started packing. Honey, I was just worried about you. I'm sorry, she said and hugged me while sobbing. Please, don't leave me like your dad did. I can't live without you. Hearing that, my heart fell. She was right. Ever since Dad left, there was only her taking care of and loving me. She's a bit tough and over-controlling, yet she meant well, right? I texted Philip a few times to apologize, but he didn't reply. Nora, look straight. Nora, where has your charisma gone? Let's take a short break. What's going on? You seem distracted today. I sighed and started telling Eleanor about my date with Philip. Gosh, your mom's a total control freak. You need to be strong and stand up against her to win your freedom. Well, of course I wanted freedom, but where should I start? Suddenly my phone beeped, and stopped my train of thoughts. It was Mom. Honey, Anna's sick, so I'm staying at hers tonight. Dinner's in the fridge, and don't forget to go on the treadmill an hour before bed. Love you. Yay! Tonight I'd be free and do whatever I want, so suddenly I came up with a brilliant idea. Yes, I was going to have a slumber party. Eleanor suggested we should order pizzas, and of course everyone excitedly agreed. So good. Suddenly, the door opened. My eyes widened in horror when I saw that it was my mom, and oh boy, she looked furious. Nora, what on earth are you doing? And you can guess the rest. She made all my friends leave, and worse, she forced me to wake up at 5 a.m. to work out. All this just because of a bite of pizza. Eleanor was right. I needed to put a stop to this by finally standing up to her. This is unbearable. So, as a stress reliever the next day, I decided to do something I always wanted. Wow, it's so cute. I know, right? It feels good to do what I want for a change. Nora, why are you here? How come you didn't answer any of my calls? Startled, I turned around to see my mother standing there glaring at me. I quickly covered the tattoo on my wrist with my other hand, but it was too late. Nora, how dare you get a tattoo without my permission? Get back in there and get it removed right away. No, Mom. My body, my choice. From now on, I'll make decisions about my own life. Everyone on the street stopped to look at us. Seeing that, Mom just glared at Eleanor, then dragged me over to the car. But how did she know I was at the tattoo studio? Right at that moment, my phone buzzed with an unknown AirTag device nearby. Wait, could it be? I quickly checked my stuff and oh my God, it's true. Mom had stuck an AirTag into a hidden corner of my bag. Why did you attach an AirTag to my bag? So I'm aware when you do stupid things like tarnishing your body with some awful tattoo. As soon as possible, you're getting it removed. I'm 18. I can do what I want. Eleanor was right. You just want to turn me into a puppet to control. I knew it. Nora, I forbid you to hang out with that girl ever again. She's jealous of you and wants to ruin your career. She just wanted to help me. Your behavior isn't acceptable. And she pulled me into my room and locked the door. You can stay there until you see sense. I banged on the door and shouted till my voice was hoarse, but it was no use. 3 days passed. Mom still brought me food, but she refused to let me out. Oh no. Did she want to keep me here forever? I hurriedly called Eleanor for help, but it didn't work. Why didn't she answer the phone? Then suddenly I saw an article reporting that a model had spoken up about how Eleanor had been tricking her to steal her vedette spot for a famous designer's upcoming show. And that model was me? Impossible. That did not happen at all. And I have not been in contact with the press. Then a thought crossed my mind. Mom? That's right. As my manager, she must have said this to the media to defame Eleanor. Meanwhile, Eleanor must think it was me who did all this. Ugh, no wonder she was ignoring my calls. Angry and disappointed with Mom's behavior, I decided to confide in my Twitter. Unexpectedly, after only 20 minutes, my post was shared quickly and the hashtag #RescueNora was at the top of the search. But then my mom angrily came in and confiscated my phone. Don't expect someone to come here and save you. The next morning, I was awoken by loud noises from outside. Huh? What was going on? I went to the window and saw a crowd of people holding signs saying "Free Nora" and "Let Barbie out." But wait a minute. I spotted some familiar faces. Eleanor and Philip. They were holding a big sign saying, "We want to see Nora." Finally, under the pressure of the crowd, Mom was forced to release me. Honestly, I was grateful to the people who supported me, especially Eleanor and Philip. Thanks to them, I dared to finally break my mom's unreasonable control and grip and be myself. So, I decided to move into my own place. As for my mom, I want to forgive her, but it's hard. I just hope she realizes what she did was wrong. Then we can try to rebuild our relationship. Oh, and one more thing. From now on, I won't bleach my hair, just to get doll hair like before. I decided to keep my natural hair color. It may affect my modeling career, but so what? It's my natural hair, and I like it. Anyway, as you can see, life's good, as I have my BFF Eleanor and my boyfriend Philip by my side.